and next up we have Poonam with a talk on tech in protests. Hello, Poonam. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm excited. Let me just share my screen.
Amazing. Whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am going to talk to you about tech in protest, but I kind of lied. It's not really about tech, like in a broader sense. I'm very specifically talking about web apps and websites and open source code. And I'm not really talking about protest. I'm kind of talking about solidarity and not really frontline stuff. I did try to fit it in, but it was just so much. I just couldn't deal with it. So I cut it all out. Oh God, right. The first thing I would like to sort of drill home a little bit is that the right to join with each other in protest and peaceful assembly or strikes or unionize, march, everything like that is critical to a functioning society. And that's embedded in, I think, the US First Amendment right, and it's embedded in the European Convention for Human Rights. I hope I said that right. So it's what we need for a society that evolves and thrives, and basically we can't have a healthy society without it. We can't have a democracy without it. So I just wanted to draw that home first of all, because I think we kind of forget that nowadays, that actually protest isn't something we need to squash or strike down on or have heavy policies against. It's kind of something that we need to sort of support when we find a cause that we align with. Before we get into sort of the protester side, I wanted to see what was on sort of the state side in terms of tech. And they focus a lot on like hardware that is very much focused on blocking signals, collecting evidence, and just being downright like intimidating, like trying to capture everyone's faces kind of thing. The guy on the left, that's a guy in Russia. He's a police officer in Russia, and he's using a signal jammer, which at first I was like, what is this gun? But it's a signal jammer. And he's pointing at a drone, and the guy in the background, he's about to pluck it from the air because they're just disabling it. And it's that kind of signal jamming, like advanced tech in that sense, that disrupts people on the ground and how they communicate with each other and stay safe and record evidence and stuff like that. We got like police evidence gatherers, and this week in America has been very, very turbulent for obvious reasons. And there has been robot police dogs, I think courtesy of Boston Dynamics in New York City. Not really sure what their purpose is, but I saw an infographic about how to disable them, which was very strange. And on the top right-hand corner, I saw a headline this week about a leader of the Metropolitan Police Union who was asking the government to take action against social media sites that allow people to share images or like videos of police on the ground. Obviously, they're very aware that this kind of recording on the ground is incriminating for them. And I'm not going to get into that, but you can kind of see they're very fearful of us protesters having tech, and it's a weird situation. So what about technology on the ground of protest movements? Well, I did have a lot to say about this, but I decided that it's not worth getting into right now because there's so much of it. There was one thing that I really wanted to point out, was that Telegram and Signal seem to have become these pillars of protest on the ground because they are end-to-end encrypted, self-destroying messaging services that allow massive group chats to be made. And the key point here is that technology and apps like that, they're kind of able to democratize and decentralize and keep everyone sort of safe and well informed on the ground. And that's the kind of thing that you see when you're, on a march. Like the whole aim is to keep everyone safe and informed and like able to move around, and protect their identities and stuff. So let me move on to my favorite bit, which is acting in solidarity, because I don't go to protests. I've not really been to one. My main acts of like protest have mainly been in solidarity to other causes or like from afar, so not really on the streets, because I think not everyone's comfortable doing that kind of stuff, and it puts different people in danger in different ways. So it's kind of something you have to think about. So solidarity, and then open source. So let me just explain a bit about what solidarity is. Apologies if I butcher this and if anyone knows a bit more, but my interpretation of solidarity is that it's sort of like empathizing with a cause, and you may not be directly involved or impacted or directly in sort of that area that is feeling the harm of a certain thing or feeling that cause more, but you're able to empathize or share resources or sort of share mutual aid or just sort of support in any way that you can, despite being potentially an outsider to that issue. So that's what solidarity is. And I think that solidarity is kind of, yeah, it's like grounded in education in my idea of it. It's sort of, if you take last summer, where Black Lives Matter sort of took 2020 by storm because of some very, unfortunate and continuing police violence against Black people in America and around the world, to be fair. Because of that, people were asking, how can I help? Where do I go? Who do I give money to? What do I sign? Who do I talk to? Who can I, lobby to support this? And a lot of the people that have the answers are also the people that are doing most of the work, and it can be quite exhausting. So education is key because of all those questions. And then solidarity is key because it supports those people that are in the center of the storm and, takes that pressure away from them and enables people to educate themselves and sort of give the power out, and rather than focusing on like leaders that need to sort of direct everyone. So that's where open source comes in my head. I saw a lot of web apps come through last year that sort of sparked my imagination a bit. And I don't personally contribute to open source at the moment. But I can't wait. Oh my God, I can't wait. So excited. I can't wait until it's possible for me, or like I feel confident enough to, or I have time to, because open source is where you can collaborate globally to create, or like locally, to create sites, web apps, tools, software that can open pathways for other people. And let me explain that a little bit clearer. So this is a web app called 2020 Protests, and it was created by, I think, a student in the US. And it came up just in May 2020 when everything was sort of kicking off. And it is what it says. It's a collection of the protests that are going on in America as they happen, where they are, what you can do to join them, how to keep safe, where to get educated on the issue, who can you text to donate, and like a lot of collections of resources. And this answers a lot of those questions that I mentioned earlier. And that's what I think can be really powerful. Someone taking the time to build resources like that point people in the right direction, allow more people to get activated as the issue sort of gains traction. And it just funnels people in the right direction. So I think it can be really, really powerful. These were two sort of informational web apps. Oh my God, that is not visible. But the one on the left is, it's 8 minutes, 46 seconds. And that is the time that Derek Chauvin, who is now on trial, he knelt on the neck of George Floyd for. And it's a really difficult timer to sit through. It's got transcripts of what happened in real time. And it's emotionally provocative. It means that people who may not understand the cause or may not actively connect with why this matters, why are people on the streets, why do they need to do this? And it forces them to sit in the shoes of those who deal with this issue every day. And I think that is the kind of powerful, open source web app design we can do. to educate people on why they should care. And then the one on the right is a infographic. It's actually scrollable. It's not scrollable on the screen, but it is scrollable if you go onto it. And it just shows you the scale of the incarceration state in America, and just puts it into context. You know, numbers don't feel real until you see it, and you really do see it. And both of these are done by the same guy. He's really interesting. Okay, so this is a resource that I really loved because it was similar to the first one. An open source sort of updated bit of just a website, as simple as it looks, a load of links that point people to different directions, answers a load of questions. And it does what it says. And I think this kind of design and this kind of thought process in producing online tools can be like insanely powerful, as I've said multiple times. Yeah, it's just really, really cool. And you can see on the bottom that it connects people globally, which was, even better in solidarity. And this is kind of the final thing that I wanted to show you guys. It was just using Google Docs and PDFs to share things across the internet. You see how using all this technology? And this is just sharing protest handbooks about how to keep yourself safe, how to utilize your mobiles like properly, how to clean your digital self so that people can't find out who you are or incriminate yourself if your country is particularly anti-protest. And I just wanted to show that it can be as simple as that, and that's what I mean by software and solidarity. So can you feel it? I hope that you can sort of feel a sense of what is possible when it comes to producing open source or even just closed source web apps and online tools. Just how simple it can be and how much of an impact it can make for causes that are really prominent in our modern times. Thank you for listening.